Welcome to Rockingham for round 4 of the 2017 Radical SR1 Cup Championship. 2 races over the course of this weekend. This is race number 2, and let's look at the grid. The way they line up sees Jerome Desadlier on pole position with David Thompson alongside. Row 2 of the grid is James Pinkerton and Andrew Ritchie. In row 3, Mark Crader and David Tagg. Nigel Payne lines up alongside the new Radical SR1 of Chris Hall on row number 4, making its debut. And row 5 is Peter Devlin and Craig Thompson. Cars are on the grid, the lights go out. It's a fantastic start from David Thompson from the outside of the front row of the grid. Not a bad start either from Jerome Desadlier, and a fantastic start also from Andrew Ritchie. So 3 as 1 head up towards turn 1, but it is going to be the race 1 winner, Jerome Desadlier, that is out front and leads the race. David Thompson, or Sven as he's also known, slots himself through into second position, but Andrew Ritchie's looking to try and sneak up the inside here as they come into the braking area for the Dean hairpin for the first time. Couldn't quite do it, Andrew Ritchie, so it's still Thompson that's there in second place, Andrew Ritchie in third place, James Pinkerton in fourth place, Mark Crader in fifth place, and it looks as though it's David Tagg that's taken up the early lead in the Fangio class as he sits there in sixth position. But the cars already threading their way through Chapman Curve and out towards Piff Path for the first time, and already it looks as though Jerome Desadlier is looking to try and break away. Already twice a race winner so far this season, claimed a win at Brands Hatch, claimed the win in the first race of the weekend here in Northamptonshire at Rockingham, and at the moment is opening up a gap between himself and David Thompson, who sits there in second position. Still under pressure though from Andrew Ritchie. The number 51 car, is it going to have a look at the inside heading in towards Tarzan? Thinks better of it in the early stages of the race, and therefore he needs to attack and defend at the same time, because the number 56 car of James Pinkerton is not too far away. So here they come down the School Straight. Already you can see the 5 or 6 car lengths advantage the race leader has built up in the early stages. Then the trio fighting over second through to fourth position, with the white and black car of Mark Crader just that little bit further back in fifth place. But what a first lap from Jerome Desadlier. Over the start finish line he goes in clear daylight with this trio of cars far enough behind him so as to not have to worry him. He won't need to look in his mirrors because he'll know that he's built the advantage in the early stages. He's out of turn 1 and up towards the hairpin again goes the battle for what is second, third and fourth position. Andrew Ritchie now just a little bit further away from Sven or David Thompson than he was, and he's dropping ever more into the clutches of James Pinkerton. We saw these two cars have a great battle in the first race of the weekend, and at the moment it is James Pinkerton that is having to give second best to Andrew Ritchie, whereas in race number 1 of the weekend it was James Pinkerton that ultimately took the final podium place. They've been hugely evenly matched, both in qualifying and in the racing. Let's see what they might be able to do. At the moment they're rolling their sleeves up and getting on with it as such as they head out of Piff Path. The number 51 car with its red light covers is that of Andrew Ritchie. The one with its light blue and darker blue light covers, number 56, is James Pinkerton. And as they now dive onto the brakes and turn the car through the right-hander at what is Tarzan, they'll accelerate. Dunlop tyres working hard up through the gears, 185 brake horsepower to try and lay down in these cars from the 1340cc RPE tuned Suzuki engine as they thread their way through and into the Brook chicane yet again. So through the left, the right, the left flick, then up towards turn 4, where they'll head back onto the banked section of the circuit to complete yet another lap, all of the time whilst Jerome Desadlier is pulling away from this car here, David Thompson, who equally as much has just enough daylight between himself and the next pair behind, Andrew Ritchie and James Pinkerton. So they're still close for second, third and fourth, but nobody's quite close enough really so as to mount a full challenge as they again turn off the banked section of the circuit and onto the infield on the International Super Sports Car circuit here at Rockingham, all 1.94 miles of it. So through the right-hander at Yentwood, they work their way back up towards Chapman Curve once more, still with the car of Andrew Ritchie under this huge pressure from James Pinkerton, but not as yet has Andrew Ritchie had any mistakes made at all. Further down through the order, this is Craig Thompson, which is David Thompson's younger brother, fighting away with the number 31 car in the hands of Chris Hall, the new Radical SR1 making its debut this weekend at Rockingham, and Chris Hall puts the newer car up the inside of what is Craig Thompson, so place gained there for Chris Hall. Let's see what he now might be able to do to try and pull away. No pulling away still being done by Andrew Ritchie from James Pinkerton. They're still pretty much locked together, and equally as much the number 10 car of David Thompson is not really getting away. So despite the fact that we've got these two cars squabbling for the final podium place, they're not really squabbling to the degree that holds each other up there is our race leader. You can see the advantage that Jerome de Sadler has built up between himself and this trio of cars still, as again James Pinkerton moves the car around in the mirrors of Andrew Ritchie to try and put off the driver more than anything. He wasn't close enough to do anything. It's more just a case of moving the car around and see if you can distract the attention of the driver ahead. No such luck as far as James Pinkerton was concerned. Further down through the order, this is going to be another little good fight that's going on. This is Nigel Payne at the wheel of the number 71 car. They work their way into the banking. He's having a great fight with Peter Devlin. Both of those drivers running in the Fangio class as well. So Peter Devlin just ahead of Nigel Payne, and as they work their way up towards the braking area for the Dean hairpin, Peter Devlin under pressure from the light green and black number 71 car behind, but is still just about managing to hang on to the position on this occasion. And this is going to be something like 6th and 7th, I would have thought, this stage of the race. So safely through Yentwood, up towards what is Chapman once more, turning their way through the right-hander. And so then out towards Piff Paff. Nigel Payne hugely keen to try and pull a move on Peter Devlin. Couldn't quite manage to do so. Here is the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th once more. And it actually looks as though we've got Andrew Ritchie a little bit closer now to the number 10 car in the hands of David, or Sven Thompson as he's largely known. Up on towards turn 4 they will go. Still Thompson from Andrew Ritchie, from James Pinkerton. James Pinkerton hugely keen to try and get himself back into the podium places. We saw him on the podium in race number 1. Unfortunately for Andrew Ritchie, it was James Pinkerton overtaking him, which meant that he did not appear on the podium. So he would really like to turn the tables if he can, and he might give himself an opportunity for 2nd here. David Thompson a little bit earlier onto the brakes into the Dean hairpin compared to number 51 Andrew Ritchie. So they thread their way again down towards Yentwood Corner. 3 as 1, 2nd, 3rd and a 4th position. All of this allowing Jerome de Sadler to continue to build what is a very handsome margin in the lead of the race. So out of Chapman, up towards the never-ending left-hander at Piff Paff Corner. Still number 10 David Thompson hanging on to 2nd place. Now Andrew Ritchie is under ever more pressure in 3rd place. James Pinkerton has now moved himself into prime position here. If he can get a good run coming out of Gracelands, he might give himself the opportunity on the brakes, heading up towards the braking area for Tarzan. Is he close enough? Not quite, I would suggest, and I think James Pinkerton thinks that as well. Yep, so still sitting behind the 3rd place car as he turns his way yet again through the Tarzan hairpin and onto the Skull straight that brings them up towards the conclusion of the lap. Still close, but still not quite close enough. So again, rather frustratingly, he has to just sit behind Andrew Ritchie's car and scratch his head and try and work out where there might be some sort of opportunity, where he might have the advantage to try and steal the place away. Over the start-finish line they'll go. He'll pick up the toe now. Slipstream, the hole in the air that the car ahead is making. So again, he just moves the car around in a straight line. Actually, if anything, he's just missing out, I would have thought. Looks as though he's fallen away another half a car length or so. Further down through the order, this is Craig Thompson fighting away with Nigel Payne. Nigel, who won the Fangio class in the first race of the weekend, fighting away with Craig Thompson, who's making his debut in the Radical SR1s this weekend. And further up through the order, we've still got 2nd, 3rd and 4th very much together, as yet again they are about to head round through Piff Paff Corner. All of the time Andrew Ritchie has had to soak up this pressure from James Pinkerton. James Pinkerton has always been within touching distance. He's never really quite drawn himself alongside. So whilst the order has remained the same and the pressure has continually been there, it's not as though Andrew Ritchie is continually having to defend. A quick snatch break there by the look of things from David Thompson. He got the car anchored up. You can see just a little bit of smoke coming off the front corner of that car as he tried to get the car slowed up in time. That would have cost him a 10th or so. It would have raised the heart rate a few beats per minute, and you can see it has now dropped him into the clutch of the cars behind. Again, another little puff of smoke there. Let's hope that there's nothing mechanically wrong with the car, but David Thompson is clearly driving very hard at this stage, and he's had a better run towards the conclusion of the lap, because all of a sudden through the Brook chicane he managed to open up another quarter of a car's length or so. So over the start-finish line yet again they'll go. Still 3 for 2nd, 3rd and 4th position all of the time, whilst Jerome de Sadler is a long way up the road now in the lead of the race. And here is Chris Hall at the wheel of the Radical SR1 making its public competition debut, coming under pressure from Nigel Payne's number 71 car, who's able to squeeze his way through and take the place away. So place gained for Nigel Payne. for Chris Hall. He's trying to fight back as they come down the school straight, but can't quite manage it. So the newer shape Radical SR1 having to give second best to the older shape car as they thread their way through the Brook chicane. Either way, it's nice to see that new Radical SR1 making its competition debut this weekend at Rockingham. Here is James Ritchie. Looks as though now they've fallen ever more away from the car of Sven Thompson, who sits there in second position. So the battle for third now is on, because second place car just disappearing up the road a shade more. Andrew Ritchie really has done a superb job of just not making a single mistake. If he positions the car on the apex of the corner and gets a good drive coming off the corner each time, which is what he appears to be doing, it makes it very, very difficult for James Pinkerton to do anything about it. So through what is Tarzan, they'll work their way onto the school straight yet again. Order still remaining the same, with Andrew Ritchie still by his fingertips clinging on to third position. James Pinkerton, despite everything he's thrown at it, which has been largely everything including the bathroom sink, he's not as yet still been able to move himself through into the potential podium places. He's still having to give second best to what is Andrew Ritchie's. Again, they conclude another lap, threading their way through the flat out left-hander at turn one once more on the banked oval. We heard from some of the drivers just how daunting that corner is, and well, whilst it's one of those that they show enormous amounts of respect to, they can't afford to show it too much respect, otherwise you just simply lose time. Here we go, we're almost side by side now. James Pinkerton this time's almost got the overlap. He's got two wheels on the grass heading in towards what is Yentwood corner. Defensive work, but fair defensive work done by Andrew Ritchie means that he still hangs on to third position, but James Pinkerton for the first time really there saw some glimmer of hope in his aspirations to try and grab another podium place. He was third in the first race, with Andrew Ritchie finishing in fourth place. Well, at the moment the order is reversed and Andrew Ritchie is having to work tirelessly hard to try and maintain this very slender advantage he's got between himself and James Pinkerton, as again they head out of Graceland's corner. James Pinkerton, is he going to have a look this time as he heads in towards the braking area for Tarzan? No, can't quite do it. Andrew Ritchie braking just as late as he possibly can means that James Pinkerton has no opportunity again. He gets the power down nice and early coming out of Tarzan corner, a couple of black lines being left, but just a beautifully controlled power slide coming out, and they are still very much locked together. What is there, half a car length at the most between them as they get to the apexes of the corner? Of course that gap opens up as they head onto the straight, which is what they're about to do now, and all of this squabbling is just allowing, you can see the number 10 car of David Thompson to just pull away another half a car length every lap. He's increasing the amount of daylight between himself and this pair, who have still got their sleeves rolled up and are slugging it out over what is third and fourth places. Here is Chris Hall. He is under pressure from the car behind, and that looks as though it's going to be a change of order there. Yeah, so Chris Hall loses another position there as squeezing his way through goes Craig Thompson. So place gained for Craig Thompson. That will now put him up into 8th position. Down to 9th will go Chris Hall as they head out of Tarzan and along the school straight. As they're doing that, the race leader will be a long, long way up the road, about to put a lap, by the look of things, on the number 5 car of Peter Devlin. So Peter Devlin is going to go a lap down as Jerome de Sadlier squeezes the accelerator pedal and scythes his way past him on the school straight. And with the traffic having been dealt with, he's got plenty of time to do it. There's no such worries for him for the remainder of the race, I wouldn't have thought. He's not likely to catch any more traffic. We've still, however, got this super battle going on for what is third and fourth place. James Pinkerton, driving the wheels off his number 56 car, cannot pick the pocket of Andrew Ritchie. So they've got another lap or so in which to try and sort it out. And here, by the look of things, we've got another good little fight going on. This is going to be within the Fangio class as well. This is number 95, David Tagg and Nigel Payne fighting over first place in the Fangio class and what is 6th and 7th place overall in the race. So they're turning their way through Graceland's corner. Nigel Payne looking to try and make it a double in the Fangio class if he can, but certainly for David Tagg, who had a spin in race number 1, had to work his way back up through the order. He's got other ideas about this, and he has another spin. David Tagg spins it again by the look of things. That allows Nigel Payne to squeeze his way back through and into the lead of the Fangio class. And well, for David Tagg, well, he had a spin in race number 1 which gave Nigel Payne the Fangio class lead, and it looks as though he's done exactly the same in this one as well. And here is still that great fight we've got going on for what is 3rd and 4th position. Andrew Ritchie still in 3rd place, and for James Pinkerton in 4th place. He's been trying to attack for the vast majority of the race as they're on their last lap, and is now running out of time. He's running out of options, and I do fear he might even be running out of ideas, because Andrew Ritchie has just driven superbly well. He's got one more opportunity at the hairpin up at Tarzan. There's another opportunity on the brakes at Brook, and by the look of things, no, he's not quite close enough at Tarzan as they turn their way through the hairpin, as the race leader comes out of turn 4 for the final time to take the checkered flag. It's a double win at Rockingham for Jerome de Sadlier, but who's going to finish in second, third and fourth place? It does look so David Thompson should be good enough for second, but third and fourth might be decided on the run to the line. It's been a good defensive drive from Andrew Ritchie to try and keep at bay James Pinkerton. He's largely done it, and the one thing he won't want to do is get mugged on the way to the line. David Thompson comes through and finishes in second place, and Andrew Ritchie does finish in third place, with the hard-charging James Pinkerton having to settle for fourth place in the end. So confirmation of the results then. It's the second win of the weekend for Jerome de Sadlier, with David Thompson in second place and Andrew Ritchie this time in third place, completing the podium. James Pinkerton was fourth, ahead of Mark Crader in fifth place. Nigel Payne was sixth. David Tagg, Craig Thompson, Chris Hall and Peter Devlin complete the podium. So 3 very happy drivers on the podium. Let's hear from the top 3.
I got to thank the guys at 360 Racing. They did a really good job preparing the car. We had a few issues on Friday. They really worked through them, and great result. I'm very excited.
Must give you great momentum for the next round that's coming up.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've never driven at either Donington or Snetterton, so everyone tells me they're great tracks. I'm really excited to get out there. I'll have no training, so just a Friday and then straight on race day.
Can't be any happier than that. The race was a little bit easier than the last one because I managed the gap better. I didn't let anyone catch up on me and pull away and catch up and pull away. So yeah, happier all around really with that one.
Pinkerton was on my wing from start to finish, and this time I concentrated on looking ahead instead of behind, and I managed to keep ahead of him. It was close though. Yeah, it was horrible. It really was.
He never went away, but equally as much you didn't make a mistake and allow him the opportunity.
I made a mistake second last lap. I was in the wrong gear coming out of Dean, and I thought he had me, but I managed to block him off and hold it on for another lap. But yeah, he just didn't go away.
Well, that's all from Rockingham and the Radical SR1 Cup. Join us next time when we're at Donington Park in August.